For anyone who has their camera turned on, I need to let you know that this session is being recorded. It will be published publicly on YouTube and may be included in other digital and print media by the Regional English Language Office, U.S. Embassy Lima, and the U.S. Department of State in order to promote exchange programs and public diplomacy efforts. If you do not want to appear in a recording, please turn off your camera. You can still ask and answer questions in the chat, which is not being captured in the video, okay? And having said that, now I will proceed to read Daniel's bio, okay? All right, so Daniel Guim is in Santiago, Chile right now. He's a freelance teacher. Daniel Guim teaches English in Santiago. He also runs workshops for teachers and has the podcast ELT in Chile. Today, he's going to talk about engaging students online and creating authentic connections. Okay, so welcome, Daniel.
Thank you so much, Dinah. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So we're in this age now of being connected online all the time, teaching online. So I think it's really important to make sure we're still engaging with our students and creating these authentic connections with them, right? So what we're going to do to start out is we're going to take a look at a joke. Who doesn't love jokes, right? So, why do you need to lock the bathroom door when you're taking a shower if you have a Pokemon gun? Anyone know? Well, if you're not careful, it might Pikachu. All right. And so I have one more joke. So, did you hear about Batman and Dora the Explorer? They're getting married and they're going to have a baby girl. Do you know what they're going to name her? Tatidora. So taking a look at these jokes, there's something light, there's something that is making a connection with your students, getting them to laugh, hopefully at least getting them to smile, right? And I think that there's this human element that we really need to remember when we're teaching classes. So what I'd like to look at is I'd like to get through a lot of things. So hopefully time will allow. First, I'd like to talk about the reality of our situation, acknowledging that, the importance of connection, renaming common objects, using a scale of 1 to 10, right? Thumbs up, thumbs down, using A/B cards, Google Docs, and something called Answer Garden, and then some closing thoughts. So for the people that are in the chat or in with your cameras, could you please go ahead and mute yourselves? And then if I ask you to talk, you can go ahead and unmute yourselves, please. Very good. Thank you.
Sorry, I have already muted them. I have muted them already. So when you would like to talk, the people who I've muted, you can turn on your microphones personally. Yeah, that's done individually. Sorry.
All right. Thank you. All right. So talking about our reality. So I'm going to say some things that I think are really, really obvious, but that are really important to acknowledge. So teaching online is quite different from teaching in person. I think we all know that. We don't have control over our students' environment or their behavior. So our classroom, which we may have had very decorated, very clean, very organized, our classroom is now extending into their physical space. We cannot control what their physical environment is like. We cannot control if they have the camera on or off. So there's a lot of things that we cannot control, but what we do have control over is how we engage our students and how we connect with them, right? So I want us to think a second about the importance of connection. So how many of you have a teacher that you remember that made a positive impact on your life? Raise your hand if that happened to you. If you're in the chat, could you type yes if that's the case? Did you have a teacher that made a positive impact on your life? Okay. I see people typing yes. I see people raising their hands. All right. So I want you to think to yourselves, just for about 5 seconds, how did that teacher impact you? Right. Okay, so we have that. So you've given some thought to that. Okay, I'm hearing some background noise. Can people make sure that they have themselves muted? For those people that are participating in the room.
No.
Okay. So even though we're teaching online now, our relationship with our students and actively engaging them, we still have to do that, right? So now the thing is, how do we do that when we're online? All right, so I found a really interesting website, and what we have here is someone who has decided to rename common objects, right? So what I need to do is I need to stop sharing the PowerPoint, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share the website. So I'm going to be changing to share screen. It's going to take a few seconds. So this Twitter account is renaming everyday objects, and they're more accurate than the real ones. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the first picture here. So according to this person, the name of a group of squid should be called a squad, right? And what do they call this? This has been renamed as a panda fish, right? And here we see a glass of water. So does anyone have any ideas about what a glass of water could be renamed as? If you have any ideas, can you go ahead and put them in the chat? No ideas? Well, this is called snowman blood. Okay, oh, look at that crystal clear fountain of life. Okay, very good, excellent. So our next one, what we see is this. So we know this is a platypus. They have chosen to rename it as a duck puppy, right? Mm-hmm. And then here, we know this is obviously a sheep. Any other ideas of what this could be called? So they're calling it a land cloud, right? Then we have a zebra renamed as a prison pony. And so this website goes through, I think, about 25 different objects being renamed. So it's something, it's using language, people are being creative, it makes people smile, it makes people laugh. So incorporating something like this is a really good way of getting your students to relax a little bit, right? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to switch back to my PowerPoint presentation. It'll take 1 moment. All right, let's see, it is right here. So the way you could use something like this, you can show students an example and then ask them to make predictions, right? And when we're getting our students thinking or laughing, hopefully, or at least smiling, it helps them to relax and feel comfortable, right? Okay, so now we're going to move into something called a scale of 1 to 10, right? So for those people that have their cameras on now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? I would like you to show me an answer with your hands, right? So if you don't have your camera on, or if you're participating as a viewer, can you please type your answer in the chat box as a number? So how are you feeling right now? Right, so, okay. So I see Monica showing me a 10. I feel like a 10 right now. Okay, let's see, Fanny, is that a 9 it looks like? Okay, I see people are saying 9, 10. Excellent. Very good, it looks like people are feeling pretty good right now. All right, so now we are going to look at a different question with a scale of 9 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like cats? Right? So, show me your answer. Okay, so it looks like Monica is saying an 8, Fanny a 5, in my case it's a 10. All right, I'm seeing a 2 in the chat, 8, Maria 10. Okay, Judith is saying a 0.
I'm a cat lover.
Oh my gosh. Uh-huh. All right. And we're going to look at one more. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like Star Wars. Right? So, okay, I'm seeing a 5, I'm seeing a 10, 6, 7, 5, 2, 10. Look at this. In my case, it's a 2. And the only, okay, Fanny says a 1. I say a 2, and that's only because Baby Yoda is so adorable. Other than that, I have no interest in Star Wars whatsoever, right? So we can use the scale of 1 to 10 to really just establish rapport with students, right? Get an idea of their interests, things they don't like. You can joke around, right? And just have a nice time establishing this connection, right? Okay. So another thing we can do, which is similar, is the idea of thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm going to say a statement, and I want you to show me either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on what you think. So if your video isn't working, you can type the word up or down into the chat box, right? So it's a good idea to drink coffee right before going to bed. What do you think? It's a good idea to drink coffee right before going to bed. Right? Okay. So I'm seeing people showing me down. Okay. People are typing down. Did I see a thumbs up? Fanny, you said thumbs up? Do you do work in the middle of the night or something?
Yeah,
Right?
I drink coffee
Okay.
before bed and I
So if we look at our next one, eating salmon and fish is part of a healthy diet. Okay, it looks like Brenda was also saying up. So salad and fish is part of a healthy diet, right? So I think pretty much everyone would agree with that, right? So, all right, excellent. I'm seeing a lot of up, thumbs up in the chat. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Playing video games is a good way to spend time during a pandemic.
Yes.
What does everyone think?
I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds.
I see Monica saying thumbs up. Right. Any other ideas? Okay, Fanny, you say thumbs down. Okay. So here we have some mixed opinions. I'm seeing up, down in the chat, right? So this really depends on a person's personal preferences. Maybe they prefer reading or listening to music, right? All right, the next one. My students have a steady, reliable internet connection 100% of the time.
The music is perfect for a pandemic time.
Right.
For pandemic time.
Okay. So in my case, not really. No. Okay. All right. And the last one, I enjoy attending great online conferences like this one.
I enjoy it.
Right. It's probably 2 thumbs up for everyone, right? Excellent. Excellent. Very good. I'm seeing a lot of ups in the chat. I see up times 2. Very good. Very good. Excellent. So the thumbs up, thumbs down, we can choose statements that have a variety of purposes. So first off, we could be concept checking. If people can understand things that are spoken or things that are written to see if they make sense, such as the thing about drinking coffee before going to bed. So there could be a few people that, maybe do think that's a good idea. But overall, in general, we can tell that that's going to be a thumbs down. Right? We can also understand students' opinions and interests, right? And we can use this to determine students' situation, gathering information, right? So you might ask students, okay, if you have a steady internet connection, put your thumbs up. If you have an email address, put your thumbs up. If you use WhatsApp, put your thumbs up, right? Something like that. So you can get information about how to make your classes work, given the circumstances we're in right now, right? Okay. So now I'd like you to take a minute or two, and I'd like you to think, how can you use jokes? How can you use this renaming of common objects, a scale of 1 to 10, and the thumbs up, thumbs down in your classes? I'd like you to put an idea in the chat box, and if you haven't had the chance yet, I'd like you to get a red and blue marker, and also 2 white cards or 2 white pieces of paper. And what I would like you to do is to make cards. So one card is A in red and B in blue. We're going to use that for our next activity, right? So if you have the resources, a red card and a blue card. A for red, B for blue, right? Okay. So it's okay if you need to go ahead and get up and move away from your camera to do this. Let's see, do we have any ideas in the chat about how people can use this in their classes? Okay, no ideas right at the moment. I imagine everyone's probably getting their cards ready.
Or maybe they're thinking about the possible answers.
That's very possible. We'll go ahead and give people a few more minutes. Okay, so Juan is mentioning about multiple choice questions. Okay. Okay. So yeah, telling jokes in English, yeah. I believe there are a few that are already, there are a few websites that have jokes in English. I'm sure that if you just search on Google, you can find them. Those are my two favorite jokes that I have. Okay. Okay, so Brenda is talking about different situations and show a card depending on the reaction they would have. Okay. So it sounds like you're talking about what we're going to be doing in a little bit. Okay. Benny's saying that these things could be used as warm-up activities. All right. Excellent, excellent. Very good. All right. Okay, so faces about feelings. That's a great idea, and I think that's wonderful for younger children. You know, if they're really, really happy, if they're feeling so-so, if they're sad, maybe if they're confused, things like that. And if they hold that up, then the teacher can really get a sense of how the students are feeling. Excellent, excellent. Okay, and then it looks like Dinah said about showing jokes using the grammar point that you're learning at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. There are really a lot of great ideas with this. Yeah, also with songs. Great, great. Excellent. So keep those ideas coming. We're going to go ahead and move on for the purpose of time, right? Excellent, excellent. Very good. Okay, so, all right, so everyone, if you're on camera, if you have your A-B cards, can you please show them to me?
Yes, here is A.
Excellent, excellent. All right, I see Monica's, I see Dante's. Very good.
B.
Excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some statements, and I need you to tell me which ones are correct. A, B, or both, right? You're going to show your card when I ask, right? If your camera is not working, you can type your answer into the chat box after the sentence appears, right? Okay, so our first set. A, don't turn off the TV. I watch it. B, don't turn off the TV. I'm watching it. So which of those is correct? A, B, or both? Okay. So I'm seeing some responses, seeing a lot of responses in the chat. All right, so as for English teachers, we know that the correct answer is B, right? Excellent, excellent. All right, our next set. Lisa Simpson practices saxophone every day. Lisa Simpson is practicing saxophone every day. So which is correct? A, B, or both?
Both.
Oh my gosh, okay. So let's see. Well, we would probably say A, but does anyone think B is possible? Maybe in some circumstances.
Yes, yes. You use the present
Maybe
progressive.
someone could say, "Oh, Lisa's really stressed out. She's practicing saxophone every
When
day,
it's something
leading
unusual.
up to a
When
performance."
it's something unusual.
Right.
Yeah, you use,
So that one is maybe there's a little bit of gray area.
yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. The next, my best friend's sister has 5 children. My best friend's sister is having 5 children. A, B, or both? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm seeing people typing A. I'm seeing people holding up both cards. Okay. So everyone agrees that A is possible, right? Okay. So now is B possible?
Ya voy a ir yo. Ya fui.
Is that possible?
Could be.
It could be. Is it likely? It's not very likely. It's not very common, but this is possible, right? And here, if we do not use the correct verb tense, it can cause some confusion, right? Excellent, excellent. And our last one, oops, one moment. Okay, Homer listens to rock music. Homer is listening to rock music. A, B, or both. All right, I see Judith holding up both cards. I see Monica holding up both cards. I see a lot of people saying both in the chat. A and B, perfect, you got it. So here we have a difference in meaning, present simple, present continuous. Excellent, excellent. So the way that I've used this is focusing on a grammar point, comparing and contrasting, right? But we can also use this to determine students' opinion. So do you think Chinese food is better or Italian food, right? Is it better to watch a football game or a movie, right? And we can also use this to check students' reading comprehension. Imagine you gave them a reading, right? And you could say, so did he find a radio or did he find a computer, right? And so, yes, this is very, very low level, but this is something getting a response from students, making them give a physical answer, engaging them in what they're learning, right? Excellent, excellent. Very good. All right. So now what we're going to do, we're going to move into a Google Doc. So what I would like to do is I would like to ask for 4 brave volunteers that are in the room with me. So let's see. Do I have any volunteers? Okay, so we have Monica. Let's see. Any other volunteers? Okay, thank you, Judith. All right. Let's see. Maybe Fanny and Maria del Carmen Avila. If you're there and if that's okay, could you please type yes? Okay. Okay, we can just work with 2 people if they're not available. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put this, I'm going to share this Google document, right, through a link in the chat, right? Okay, so here we go. Okay, I see Trinidad says she can join. Okay, thank you, Trinidad. Okay, so I'm just going to ask those 3 people to click on the link, right? And this is going to take us to a Google Doc. So I am going to go and share my screen, and we're going to see how we can use this to have an interactive class. All right, so we see our students are connected. Perfect, all right. So we have our expressions of frequency. So what we're going to see now, how often do you do the following activities? Use the expressions in the box to help you, right? So we see things like every morning, every afternoon, every night, every weekend. Okay, so student 1 was Monica. So Monica, you have these questions. Numbers 1 to 4, can you please put your answers in there? All right, so our next student was Judith, right? And then we had Trinidad. Okay.
My
gosh.
connection is not working.
Okay, so if your connection isn't working, don't worry. We'll still have enough people. Okay. Very good. Excellent. Okay. So we see people are now typing their answers in.
That's not
right? All at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and put my answers in. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm actually going to provide my answer for this last row here, right? Okay. So we have our questions 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone's just typing their answers in. Right. So now we can have a really, really nice conversation about this. All right. So if we take a look, So, Monica, you drink tea every morning, right? Excellent. And Monica, do you drink a particular type of tea?
Oh, I actually love all types of tea, so I like exploring and kind of, trying something new. Maybe Thai tea will be my favorite
Okay.
one. I'm sorry, chai tea.
Okay. Very good, very good. Excellent. All right. So, Judith, it looks like you weren't able to connect, but how often do you drink tea? Oh, okay. Judith is not in the chat anymore. Okay. Let's see. Trinidad, you said you almost never drink tea. All right. And Veronica, in the afternoons. Excellent. All right. So in my case, I drink tea also every morning. So that is that. All right. So now this can be a very, very polarizing topic. How often do you eat pineapple on pizza? Monica.
Just a few times a year, but I do like this type of pizza.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, I'm seeing Jose Luis is saying he eats it all the time. Fanny is saying she almost never eats it. Look at that. So I have a very, very unpopular opinion, but I believe that pineapple has no place being on pizza. I know it's not a very, very popular opinion, but it's one I feel strongly about. Right? Veronica eats it on Sundays, right? So, okay, I'm seeing that Fanny says she doesn't like pineapple. There we go. Excellent, excellent. Right? Okay, so Netflix. So, Monica, how often do you watch Netflix?
I gotta confess, kind of every weekend.
Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially being in quarantine or in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and let's see, the other responses we see, Judith watches it every night, Trinidad sometimes, Veronica every day, for me a few times a week, right? Excellent. Okay, so Fanny says she watches on Saturday night. Excellent. So now, if I had more time, this is something where then you could talk about with your students. Oh, what things do you watch on Netflix, right? So then this really lends itself to having a nice conversation. What are you watching? What do you recommend? Right? We get to know our students in a more personal way. Okay, excellent, excellent. So what I would have for the next one, excellent, excellent. So someone started actually typing in questions. How often do you play cards? How often do you attend webinars? So now you could get your students creating the questions, and this really makes it student-centered. This really generates the conversation, right? So just for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and move on. All right, so if we scroll down a little bit further.
Excuse me, Daniel, to interrupt you, okay? We've already gone through 25 minutes, so you have about 20 minutes left, okay?
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so the next part, we can take a look at gerunds as the subject of the sentence. So imagine this is something that you've taught, right, and you're practicing with your students. So students have to complete the sentence with their own idea, and all the answers have to use a gerund to start the sentence, right? So for example, riding a bike is a good way to exercise. So now I have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and blank is a good way to spend time with friends. So let's see, who did we have? We had Monica, Judith, Trinidad, Veronica. Could you please go ahead and put answers into those spaces? Can you please provide one answer for each of these? All right, we'll see what ideas they come up with. Okay, chatting is a good way to spend time with friends. Also, if you're not in the Google Doc, if you would like to share some ideas in the chat box, you can also do that. Right. Okay. Playing video games is a good way to spend time with friends. Walking, that's a good idea, and that's also really good exercise. Having coffee, excellent. All right, bad ideas for when you have an online job interview. Not wearing formal clothes. Being late, being nervous. Excellent. So something people are looking forward to doing once the pandemic is over, traveling.
Yeah. Yes,
I think
yes,
we're
yes.
all looking forward to that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Writing about being inside. Uh-huh. Excellent. Very good, very good. So as you see, these are just 2 exercises we did. You know, that we were using the Google Doc and everyone was working. This was assuming we had a 4-person class, right? But we had everyone engaged, right? And they were sharing their ideas, right? So then I see virtual coffee is a good way to spend time with friends, playing games, right? Chatting, right? So you really have a lot of ideas, and I think that we have a lot of common experiences that we've been going through, right? Dante is looking forward to going to the beach, right? Excellent, excellent. So now, obviously, this is not going to work really, really well if you have a class of 40 students. So what I would like us to do now is we're going to move on to another activity. And so I need to switch my screen share again. One moment. All right. So I am there, and now I am sharing my PowerPoint again. Excellent. So in these Google Docs, I had 4 volunteers completing the exercise to simulate being in a small group class, right? And so I provided the expressions of frequency, right? And then they created their own questions. And then I did the same thing with the idea of gerunds as a subject of a sentence, right? And so our students have a lot of ideas. They have a lot of creativity in them. And so if we put them in the center of their learning, and if we can really engage them, this is going to give us much more interesting classes. It's going to make our jobs easier, right? Okay, so we can use these Google Docs in a lot of different ways. So this could be an in-class activity for small group classes, similar to what we just did, right? We can also give something like this as a homework assignment or a quiz through a Google form, right? So I could have simply said, so here's a blank, complete each sentence with using a form of the gerund, use your own ideas. I could have done that. I could have asked those questions. How often do you do these things, right? And so in that case, students are giving more individual answers, and it can be a really, really nice assessment. So the thing that I really, really like about this is there is not one correct answer. And our students' answers, they can really start a conversation, right? We could end up having a conversation about pineapple on pizza, Baby Yoda, cats, you know? So, and if we can make that connection to our students and to some of their personal experiences, that's really going to help us to make a connection with them. Excellent, excellent. All right, so now what we're going to see is another tool which is going to work better. Okay, so I see Veronica posted something. She said, once they finish an activity, they can read them aloud. Excellent, excellent, yeah. So then that is giving them even more ownership of the classroom and of what they're working on. Okay, so Answer Garden. This is a really, really great resource that is one of my favorite words, free. And so this is a way that you can get all of your students engaged, and it works great with large classes.
Thank you, Daniel.
Right?
I like your exercises. I like your game.
I have this question for you. What activities have you enjoyed doing during the pandemic? So you're going to follow the link in the chat box and type your answer, right? So I am going to type that into the chat box now. And everyone can participate here. So please go ahead, everyone connect with that. And then please go ahead and give at least one answer on that website,
Watch a movie.
right?
Watch a movie.
And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch sharing my screen to that page, right? And we're going to see. Okay. So now we're on this page, and you can type in your answer. So I have been watching Netflix.
Netflix.
So I am going to submit that answer.
Yeah, movies on Netflix.
And we're going to see. Take a look. We're seeing all these responses that are coming in. Someone has been learning German. People have been reading books. I have also been eating a lot. Right? So I'm going to add that. Okay, excellent. People have been cooking, learning how to bake, playing with family, playing with kids. So I have also been decluttering my apartment. Right, I have a lot of things I'm not using, and so now this is the perfect time to do that since I have to spend time at home. Look at how many answers we're getting, and each time I'm refreshing, it's getting bigger and bigger, right? I have also been taking a lot of naps between my classes. I'm going to add that. Excellent. So, okay. So now if we see watching Netflix is in the middle because that's the most common answer of all of them. I saw people have been attending webinars, doing homework, right? Listening music and singing out loud, right? Okay, people have been doing exercise. Excellent, excellent. Very good. So, as you see, we can get a lot of different answers in here, right? So Veronica's asking, yes, this is free. Excellent. So, and this is perfect when you have large classes. You can make any type of question. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to another question. And this is kind of in theme with what I was talking about. And I'm going to stop sharing this screen. And now I am going to share that link, right? So this is another answer garden, but we have a different question. So this question is about pizza toppings.
Pizza toppings?
Right? So what toppings do you like on pizza? So I don't know how many pineapple answers I'm going to get, but I like chicken on pizza, so I'm going to put that answer
Peaches
in.
and pineapples.
Right? I also like tomato. Okay, I already see we've got a pineapple in there.
Peaches and pineapple.
Right? I also like sausage on pizza. I see onions.
I love
veggies.
Peaches and pineapples on topping.
Right? Here in Chile, corn is also a popular topping. So let me spell it correctly. So I'm going to add that. Mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
Look at that. Some people like mushrooms on their pizza. I don't know about anyone else, but I only eat mushrooms when I play Super Mario Brothers.
Are they eatable?
So
are they eatable as Mars?
In my case, I don't really eat that much. Excellent. Okay, anchovies, bacon. Excellent, excellent. All right. Let's see. What else do I eat on pizza? So I eat tomato, I said. All right, I'm just going to put something. I'll put, so this doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to put lettuce. All right. And so here you can see all these answers. You can see the frequency, right?
How do you say oregano?
And the ones that I have indicated appear in blue. Excellent. Oregano.
How do you say oregano in English?
Olives. Oh, that's one that I forgot. Okay, extra cheese, peppers, red peppers. Excellent, excellent. Very good. So, okay, and I see people are putting comments in the chat. Also, double cheese, rucola. Very good. Eggs. Excellent, excellent. So, that is another way we can use that, and we can get a lot of answers. How do we say oregano in English?
Yes,
it's actually the same, oregano.
Oregano?
Right. Extra
With
ketchup.
Accent.
Oh my gosh.
Accent.
Look at that. Very good. Very good. All right. So I'm going to go back to sharing the rest of my PowerPoint. All right. So we saw these two questions that I posted, right? So this gives you a lot of ideas of things that you can do with your students to engage them. So I didn't have enough time to put everything in. So here's some additional ideas that I think if I mention them, you can see how you can expand and make them work. Celebrating birthdays.
Yep.
I mean, I think especially during the pandemic, people's birthdays are not the happiest of days. They're not getting to celebrate. But if you sing as a class, if you acknowledge people in that way, I think they really appreciate it and they remember it. Right? So, I see Monica asking, you can create a question on answergarden.ch. That's on the handout that you're going to get, and yes, it's free, right? Okay, meeting pets. So I imagine a lot of people are enjoying the time with their pets now. So if you get to meet pets, I think that that is something that everyone likes. It lightens the mood. It can be a great way of practicing, you know, his name is, her name is, right? You can give your students a sentence frame for them to follow, right? Another thing, we can share objects that are important to us, right? So people could share something maybe that they're using to spend the time. Maybe they have a book that they've read during the pandemic that has really been a big influence, right? Talking about people that are important to your students, right? So this will work maybe better for smaller groups, but well, it would work with adults too, and with teenagers. Celebrities. If you find out who your students are into, celebrity-wise, I don't know, Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, I have no idea who's popular now. But if you incorporate them, and if you make something about the third person, talking about Justin Bieber, or, you know, whoever it is, you have their attention. And I think that's great for kids in the early teen years, kids that are, say, between like 8 and 14 or so, right? You've got their attention in that way. You're connecting with them, right? So, all right, my closing thoughts with this. I know that we went through a lot of different things. We didn't get to go into things in a lot of detail, but I think that showing you what I've shown you, you have the skills and you have the knowledge to think about how you can implement these things into your classroom, right? So we can use humor and we can get to know our students as a way of connecting with them, right? And making that connection through the screen is so important. When we're teaching online, that does not take away our responsibility of actively engaging our students. And we do not need to become experts in the use of all these platforms, apps, all these websites to create meaningful connections with our students. I think if you can find like maybe 3 or 4 really good tools that have multiple uses, and if you are able to use that in many, many different contexts, I think that that is a very effective way of being able to teach your students, to connect with them, and to use something that's very familiar in multiple contexts, right? If you reuse the A-B cards every other class, your students are going to know that, right? You're not going to have to take time explaining it again, right? If you use Answer Garden, maybe every 3 or 4 classes for something with brainstorming, your students are going to remember that. It's going to be familiar for them. Right. All right. So we saw a lot here. We saw talking about our reality, the importance of connection, renaming common objects, the scale of 1 to 10, thumbs up, thumbs down, the A-B cards, how we used Google Docs, Answer Garden, and my closing thoughts. So at this point, I would like to know if there are any questions.
Any questions?
All right, so if there's anyone that is here, you can go ahead and unmute and have your question, or if there are questions in the chat box that maybe I missed.
Daniel?
Yes, Monica?
I just wanted to thank you for sharing all these tools. I think it's important to, as somebody said on the chat, have variety, because, you know, our students are going through a really tough time right now, rough time. And so if they have fun and they enjoy the class, they will just for like 1 hour, an hour and a half, they will forget about everything else. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for participating. Are there any other questions that people have, or are there any questions in the chat, Dinah?
Yeah, there's one here. It says, how do you create the questions in Google Docs?
Okay. So what you need to do, let me see. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen with that. And I will show you how to set up a Google Doc in case if there's people that don't know how to do that. Okay, so I might have to switch it again. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here. So if you have a Google account, so for example, I am in here with Google Docs, and this is associated with my Google account, with my email. So then I can go in here, I can make a new document, and then I can create whatever title I want. So English class, right? So I can make my title up here, and then it's just almost like Microsoft Word. The only difference is that it is live. So when I'm typing into it, people can see it, right? So then I can say, okay, here is your homework. Complete these exercises. Or here is a classwork assignment, right? And then what I do is I then share this, and this gives me the option that I can send it to people by email. I can also share it as a link. So you have some different options for sharing this. And you can set it up that a person can either edit it or they can just view it, right? Excellent, excellent. So I hope that answers your question. I know I went through that pretty quickly. All right, Dinah.
Is there a limit of questions that you can create using Answer Garden?
That is a very good question. I believe there is not a limit, but what happens is they do. You do have a choice of how long you want it to be available. So actually, let me share my screen, and I'll show you what it looks like going through that process. One moment here. Okay, so I'm going into Answer Garden. Here we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to Answer Garden. And so what we do is I go here to Create Answer Garden, and it gives me some choices, right? So here I would type the question. So for example, maybe what is your favorite book, right? So then we can choose the mode. So they have classroom mode, which is the one that we used. They do have a moderator mode in that every answer that people submit has to be approved in case if you have students that might say things that are inappropriate. Locked mode, which is very protected. So I typically stick with classroom mode. You can choose the number of characters, either 20 or 40. They do have the possibility to use a password and a reminder email. I haven't used that. I haven't had to worry about the spam filter. Then you can choose the case, lowercase, uppercase. So now local discoverability, right? So I can make this available like for 1 week, right? So then I would have this link, which I would then share with people, right? Okay, so I know I went through that pretty quickly, but I hope that's helpful.
Well, Daniel, everybody's very happy and very thankful for so many ideas that you have given us. Okay, everybody's excellent presentation, very fruitful presentation. Thank you for the great ideas. Okay, so in general, those are what people are.
Thank you. I'm seeing these comments, and I really, really appreciate it. Very
wait,
good.
there's one at the end here. Are the answers?
Uh-huh.
Are the answers always a word cloud?
That is a good question. Yes, as far as I know, Answer Garden, it always appears in that way. The thing that I like about it is that the text is always appearing as text. It doesn't make it like sideways or going up and down and things like that. So I think that that makes it a little bit easier to read.
Okay, and there's one more about Garden, Answer Garden. Can you download the result of the Answer Garden?
That is a really good question. I do not know. So what I have done when I've used it with people is I've taken a photo of it to then save. So now obviously that's not the same as getting it and then being able to download it and analyze it if you're doing any type of research. Perhaps there is. You know what? Let me hop in there really quick and let's see if it gives us that option. 1 minute. Okay, let's see here. So if I go into the one about the activities of the pandemic. Okay, yeah, you know what? You can export it.
Mm.
So tweet the results on Twitter, Wordy, Textghetto, translate the answers with Google Translate, let's see, share. Yeah, so you can share this. So I imagine you could go ahead and send this to your email, embed, micro garden. Okay, so I don't quite know what that is, but it looks like you do have options to be able to keep track of this. Excellent, excellent. Very good.
Or a screenshot, yeah. Okay, so again, people are saying great ideas, great. Everybody's very happy. So many ideas that you have given us. Me, that includes me, of course.
Wonderful.
Yes, excellent
Thank you.
ideas.
Thank
Yes.
you. And so if anyone is interested in being in contact, there is my website. There is my email address. My website is going to be going through maintenance next weekend, but I will have a blog post up with that. And I also do have a podcast I do with one of my colleagues called EL Team in Chile. And our goal with the podcast is to share these practical things. We talk about what we do in our classes, our current teaching context. So that is also one of my favorite words, free. So if you're interested in following that, we have new episodes approximately twice a month. And so that can be another resource if you're looking for some inspiration, if you're looking to connect and, you know, learn about other ways you can do, other ways you can teach. Excellent. Are there any other last questions at all? I see a lot of thank yous. Thank you to everyone for attending. Thank you to Dinah for being such a wonderful moderator and helping with this. Thank you to Rilo Andes for going ahead and organizing this. And I would like everyone to please give yourselves a round of applause.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. It's been very nice being here with you, and you've got great ideas. You've given us a lot of ideas. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Okay, bye-bye.